it being the 14th day of November 2024, good evening and welcome to the broadcast tonight, a day that President William Ruto's government has been castigated left, right and center for what is termed as failure to address critical issues affecting Wanjiku. My name is Sammy Adika and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Mureithi at the right bottom of your screen. Now, starting us off tonight from Kakamega County, 3 more people have died after succumbing to injuries sustained during the road accident at the Yala Bridge, bringing death toll to 13. Now, speaking after visiting the survivors of the accident at the hospital, Kakamega County Governor Fernandez Baraza said 3 more people died while receiving treatment at the Kakamega Referral Hospital. 10 people died on Wednesday in the incident, or rather accident, involving 2 passenger vehicles heading to Kisumu from Kakamega and a tanker heading to Kakamega. Now, 20 people who were injured in the accident are receiving treatment at Kakamega, Iguhu and Mukumu County Referral Hospital.
Nikasema hapana, mtoto wangu anafikanga kitoka college, anafikanga nyumbani mapema, na leo ametoka college kitu kama saa 5 na mpaka wa saa hii hajakuja. Na saa ile nilikuwa tu hapo kwa njia saa 1 saa 2 ndio niliona ni hiyo accident hiyo kutoka Kakamega. Nikajua mtoto wangu ako hapo, kwa vile alikuwa ananiambia anateremka anakuja, vile tumeangalia tumuoni, ndio tumejua mtoto wetu amepata accident.
I'm also meant to understand that this truck had worn out tires, so basically it was unroadworthy, and this is the time that we need to call upon the Ministry of Transport to instill the road safety measures. I'm also meant to understand that the 2 Nissans that we are carrying passengers, we are also overspeeding. So it's the highest time that we have speed limiters being reintroduced, so that we can be proactive and take care of the safety of our people. It's also the highest time that the roadblocks, which had been removed from the roads, be reintroduced, so that at least we have regular checks on the vehicles which are unroadworthy, and that will go a long way to prevent such calamities.
Quite a report right there from Kakamega County. Our condolences to the victims. Now, the Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops has rubbished the proposal to increase presidential terms from 5 to 7 years. Now, speaking, or rather, the bishops termed the proposal as selfish, saying political leaders should, or rather, focus on issues affecting Kenyans other than focusing on such issues. Now, on matters tax, the clergy termed recent revenue raising proposals the government has tabled to compensate the deficit caused by the withdrawal of the Finance Bill 2024 as burdensome to the common mwananchi. The clergy are now demanding that the government move with speed to address major issues that affect Kenyans, warning of dire consequences if the Ruto-led regime will continue turning a blind eye to their calls.
We, the Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops, feel compelled to voice our grave concerns regarding the troubling political climate that has gripped our country. We have made clear statements many times in the recent past with very little response from the government. Despite the calmness we are experiencing, there is a lot of anxiety, and most people are losing trust in the government. Consequently, we raise these important observations and concerns that should be addressed. The first, political wrangles. The political wrangles in the government have generated unwanted tensions and deepened divisions among our people. Further, it has created an environment of mistrust among the citizens and within the government itself. Number 2, corruption and politics of self-interest. The elected leaders have been mandated to fulfill roles conferred to them by the Constitution. They are among the highest paid legislators in the world. We are troubled by their heightened insensitivity and irresponsibility in carrying out their tasks, allowing themselves to be captured and compromised in corrupt deals. Corruption may not always involve financial benefits, but the unjust use of position and authority or abuse of office. The massive greed we are witnessing is shocking and heartbreaking. The violation of human rights and freedom of speech. We are appalled by the blatant recurring incidents of reported abductions, disappearances, torture, and killings of Kenyans. We also decry the increasing murder of women. This has caused great consternation, anger, and disgust. Many families are still grappling with the loss of their children who are brutally killed, injured, or went missing following what is referred to as the Gen Z demonstrations in June 2024. Many of these victims had raised concerns about rampant corruption within and outside the government. Who is abducting these people?
Away from that, NARC Kenya party leader Martha Karua has castigated the Kenya Kwanza government following the recent changes in the education sector. Now, in the company of former Makueni County Governor Kivutha Kibwana, Dr. Muhisa Kitui, and Kabando wa Kabando, Karua wants President William Ruto to revert to the previous university funding model, HELB, honoring CBA commitments with the university staffs and academic unions, among other critical issues, further terming the changes as mismanagement of the education sector.
We know that William Ruto never supported the Constitution. He was in the No team. But we want to remind him he is obliged, like all Kenyans, to obey, to defend, and to protect the Constitution. He therefore must not dismantle the efforts that have been put over the years towards universal access to education in this country. Kibaki started with free primary education, allowing so many children who have been left out to attend school. It went on to partial secondary. It was increased a little bit during the Uhuruto period. We should now be aiming to freeing education from kindergarten, that is ECD, to university level. Instead, Ruto and his administration have behaved the way locusts behave when they descend on greenery. They consume everything and leave nothing. So what his administration is doing is destroying education without providing the basics for university, which is accommodation, tuition, and meals.
If those days all these senior people in the country could enjoy that kind of education, why is it that now education must be so expensive to exclude particularly children of the poor? Education is so critical because it shapes a nation. What kind of labor force you have, what kind of leadership you have, So when you miss doing elementary things in terms of promoting it, then you are more or less collapsing your country.
Matters Health, Public Health and Professional Standards, Principal Secretary Mary Mudhoni has dispelled assertions that the ongoing polio vaccination is unsafe to children. The PS says the vaccination being administered in the country has gone through the necessary certifications, including World Health Organization, and thus should not worry parents. Now she has urged parents not to hesitate to bring their children for vaccination, noting multiple vaccination boosts immunity of their children.
However, during vaccination, sometimes you may find rare occurrences that some children might experience some mild side effects, such as fever, vomiting, diarrhea, fatigue, muscle aches, amongst others. And at this juncture, which is very common, sometimes they can become severe, and the parents and caregivers are requested to visit the nearest health facility for a medical review, or for a medical review of the child, and may report by dialing our 271 hash number. So these are common issues that may occur after the child has received vaccination, and it is advisable that the children should be taken to a health facility instead of keeping the child home. And unfortunately, due to low routine immunization rates in some counties and polio outbreaks in neighboring countries, Kenya remains at risk at any given time, and that is why we are continually doing the oral polio vaccination, because every dose means a lot. It adds an extra protection for any child who is below 5 years. And I want to assure you that all vaccines that are offered by the Ministry of Health are tested to be safe, effective, and they are approved by the World Health Organization. This vaccine is being used everywhere else in the world. So it is not just Kenya alone. And all vaccines in the country are tested by the National Quality Control Laboratory, together with Pharmacy and Poisons Board, and have been found to be safe and very effective.
Well, now on matters food security, Machakos County Governor Wavinya Ndeti has announced the distribution of seeds for various crops worth 61 million Kenya shillings to farmers identified in 40 wards within the county in her quest to improve food security. Speaking in Matu, Ndeti noted that the initiative seeks to increase agriculture productivity by ensuring every farmer has access to seeds that perform depending on their location.
Nataka kushukuru Gavana Wavinya ni kwa sababu ya hii project. Tunamshukuru ni kwa sababu ya kutupatia mbegu. Tunamshukuru ni kwa sababu ametuempower sisi kama wamama tuweze kusimamia boma zetu. Ni kwa sababu tukipewa mbegu, nikipewa mahindi kama example, kama mimi nitapanda na sitakuwa na shida ya kupatia watoto wangu.
We have 86 drop-off points where the seeds will be delivered for the issuance of the identified beneficiaries. The program targets less fortunate members of the farming communities across the 40 wards. To do calculations, so that everybody, kila mtu aende akapande. Mukipanda kama kaunti ya Machakos, tutakuwa food secure, na hiyo itaweza kutusaidia.
Today, in line with the manifesto of Her Excellency, we've seen that she has launched the program for the distribution of seeds to the farmers in the various 40 wards of Machakos County. Her Excellency, in her manifesto during election, promised farmers to stand with them, and for food security purposes, she has actually moved ahead and provided free seedlings to the farmers. The seeds that we have launched today are going to be distributed in the 40 wards across the county. As you can see, and she said, all the lorries are here. They are all going to go to the counties. The seeds are being taken to the various chiefs' offices. And we have the ward distribution committee, where the ward administrator, the assistant chief, and the agriculture officers are going to take charge and make sure that the registered farmers and the registered people at that level and the sub-locations can get their seeds to plant.
Now, crossing over to Kisumu County, Sanara has officially launched its Kisumu initiative, targeting to empower youth in the creative and cultural industries within the county. The Kisumu launch marks a significant milestone in Sanara's goal of reaching 110,000 young people, including 77,000 young women, 11,000 refugees and 5,500 people living with disabilities across 5 regions in the country, including Kakamega, Kisumu, Mombasa, Nairobi and Turkana. The 3-year program, expected to run to 2027, is designed to provide young women and men across Kenya with dignified, sustainable employment opportunities within the arts, fashion, media and entertainment sectors.
The vision behind Sanara was born from 11 years of experience, having worked within the creative space for the 11 years. We've received feedback in terms of how can we better run projects that are more impactful. So it came from a point of wanting to have a 360 view of the artist. So the artist gets trained on their technical skill. They may have the skill, but then there's a technical upskilling and reskilling. And at the same time, they get business development support to be able to run their businesses better. And at the same time, whoever is able to come in and provide them financing. So you can get financing in terms of a loan, you can get financing in terms of grants. So to have the 360 support for the artist, for their technical skill, for their business skill, and for financing. But also the other fourth arm is on policy, because then the art needs to be regularized. So we are still working on a policy development framework for the program as well.
I have come here for the purposes of mainly showcasing my talent as a gospel minister and also as a content creator. And so if advocacy can be done about it, it will be well. And also, sometimes you find that we apply trainings, but most of the trainings you find that they are not, online trainings, they are not inclusive. So if Sanara program can also advocate in a way that we are able to be included in matters whereby we can interact well with the platform that has been chosen, it shall really be of good importance to us.
To ensure that Sanara is sustainable and impactful, so one of the things that we are working on is targeting the young people within the communities. So nurturing them when they're still young enough. The lowest age you can get into this program is 18 years. As long as you've just turned 18, we want to empower the artists from the onset, get them to have the business skills. As they start to do the businesses start being profitable from a very early age. The second one is working with community-based organizations to help us identify the talents that exist. As we've realized, mostly we have very good talent within the informal settlements, but then there's no visibility of this art. So it's working with the community-based organizations to identify this art and work with them to create art and that can earn them a revenue. For this program, we really hope to empower more artists in Kenya and hopefully grow it within the African region.
Now on matters business, Cooperative Bank of Kenya has recorded a net profit of 26.8 billion Kenya shillings for the third quarter of 2024, representing an 8.5% year-on-year growth. Now, this performance was driven by increases in customer loans and deposits, supporting growth in both interest and non-interest income. The bank's unaudited results for the period ending September 30th, 2024 showed total operating income rose to 59.2 billion Kenya shillings from 53.4 billion in 2023. Now, interest income from loans increased by 24.5% to 39.4 billion Kenya shillings, while fee income from transactions such as loan processing and foreign exchange also saw significant growth. And Equity Group Holdings PLC and the German Development Finance Institution DEG have announced the launch of the German desk for the East African market. The German desk is part of Equity Group's efforts to reach out to a broader range of European SMEs and entities. It will provide comprehensive relationship management and financial services to European SMEs and their local partners in the region. Equity Group Holdings has positioned the German desk as a key component of its broader strategy to foster connections and partnerships with European markets, particularly Germany, under its global partnership program. Now, by offering tailored financial solutions and facilitating business linkages, the group aims to support German and European companies in their expansion into East Africa.
This is an important step, one might even say a historic step, for the economic relations between Germany and Kenya, but also between the European Union and the East African community. We see this not as an exclusive German project, but we want to really offer the German desk to all our European partners. The idea is to facilitate business and investment and trade between Europe and the East African community, especially for small and medium-sized enterprises. Kenya is an interesting destination for German investment. It is the entry hub for the East African market for 400 million people, also a growing middle class. And I see this as a very promising signal also in a context, geopolitical context, geoeconomic context that makes things not easier, if I may say so, but that also proves that the business opportunities in Africa are growing.
In total, between KfW and DEG, I think we are close to $500 million in credit facilities. The partnership between us, particularly on education, not just the Wings to Fly, but the TVET program, our partnership in agriculture that has seen us finance and develop 24 irrigation schemes speaks a lot. And it's the lessons that we have learned of 20 years of partnership and collaboration that we now want to scale for the betterment of the world through a collaboration between Germany and Africa.
Well, now in matters sports, youth affairs, creative economy, and Sports Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has praised the Kenyan women amputee football team following their inspiring show at the just concluded World Cup in Colombia. Now speaking while hosting the team to a luncheon at the ministry's headquarters, Talanta Plaza, right here in the capital, CS recognized their effort at the global level, further stating that he is committed to developing talent at the grassroots level in a bid to nurture future champions. Now, the Kenyan team defeated England 1-0, Peru 2-0, and Ukraine. Let's take a look.
Though your journey ended in the semi-finals with a loss to the host nation, Colombia, you finished fourth overall, an incredible feat, especially given that women amputee football in Kenya was only launched a year ago. You know, many people think that this is something that has been there for a long time. You're 1 year old in terms of the football being launched in the country, and now you've come home the fourth in the world after this inaugural World Cup. You have written your names in the annals of history as ladies who have, first of all, qualified to the World Cup. Let me start by saying that you are the second team in Kenya football to ever go to the World Cup. The first team was our women, the under-17. They just came from Dominican Republic. Fantastic. They did a fantastic job.
Now, Football Kenya Federation, FKF, county elections have successfully been concluded across different counties within the country. The branch elections kicked on Thursday morning after the Kitui High Court lifted the injunction that had previously halted the elections. The ruling had enabled elections agents to begin streaming at their designated duty stations early on Wednesday ahead of the elections that came to an end today evening at 5 p.m. However, elections were not held in 4 counties, that is Kirinyaga, Baringo, Makueni, and Tharaka Nithi, as all candidates in this, within those specific counties, were running unopposed. And South Africa's Patrice Motsepe is set to go through unopposed for a second term as CAF president, with no candidate expressing interest to challenge him. Patrice Motsepe is assured of a second term as the president of the Confederation of African Football, that is CAF, after no other candidates submitted their candidature by the close of the deadline. The deadline for interested candidates to submit their nomination closed on Tuesday, November 12th. No one had expressed an interest in challenging Motsepe, who recently confirmed that he will seek re-election following pressure from various association heads and sponsors. Now that means that the South African will sail through unopposed at next year's Congress to begin a fresh 4-year term after his first stint in the office was marked with a positive impact. Well, that right there brings us to the end of Newswatch tonight, right here at Hope TV. Many thanks for choosing Hope TV. My name is Sammy Adika, and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Mureithi. Do have a wonderful night. Goodbye.